The Cage. Live local sports talk for the Twin Tiers. Controversy, predictions, interviews. Worldwide sports on a local level. This is the show for you, the Olean sports fan. Are you fired up about a sports topic? Put your rage in the cage by calling 716-376-WVTT or emailing cage@colonialme.com. Welcome to The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Welcome. Yet another Football Friday here to end the week. The Cage, the Mouth, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. You heard the man. 716-376-9888. Those are the magical digits to dial. You want to get in on the show on the phone lines. You can follow me on Twitter as well, @_Joel the Mouth. You can email the show, cage@colonialme.com. Also, check out facebook.com/sportsradio939 WVTT. First and foremost, before I get into the opening of the show, want to give you guys a quick reminder that this Tuesday coming up, November 5th, Bonnie's Pep Rally over at the Riley Center from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., The Mouth and Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT will be live from down there. We'll have players, we'll have coaches, we'll have students on the show talking about the upcoming season with the St. Bonaventure Bonnies, A10 basketball. Don't forget to go support the Bonnies, kicking off their preseason schedule tomorrow at 3 o'clock against Mansfield down at the Riley Center. Congratulations to the winner of the tickets. So big ups to you guys for winning the tickets. We'll have Bonnies stuff all week. And before we get to the football stuff, and I want to let you guys know, at 4:20, my man Brandon Croce of BleacherReport.com, featured Bills columnist, will be joining us to talk Bills Chiefs. So I got you covered on that. But I am utterly disgusted, pissed beyond belief about something that I read before I came on the air today. And it's out of somewhere, it's out of Buffalo, and a writer is talking about the Sabres. Now, you know, and everyone out there in the listening audience knows how I feel about Ralston, about Darcy, and about the way this organization is going. This reporter, and I quote, says, "I should not be walking into an NHL locker room after Game 15 and hear players talking about not competing." Also said, in Friday's practice, many drills were designed for them to compete. Many drills were designed to get them to compete. And here's what Steve Ott said, and I quote, "It looks like on the ice, when you're winning one-on-one battles consistently, supporting guys, supporting the puck, you tend to break out easier and you tend to puck retrieve better, as well as all those things are from teamwork. When you have to support somebody, you have to get there. You have to put the work in and the extra 10 steps to get there." Compete? Support? What happened? What are you talking about? You're talking about a team that seems to have thrown in the towel already. A team last night, will I add, within 30 seconds of dropping the puck, 3 shots were on net, and a Buffalo Sabre was in the penalty box. Compete? This team doesn't even know the word compete. Ron Ralston is a virus, a disease, something that is growing on these players in negativity. And all you keep hearing is excuses. We're young. We don't know. It's garbage. Over. Time is done. And I hope Ralston, Darcy, and everyone at the Sabres organization is listening to this right now, because this is a joke. A joke. I mean, I don't understand it. And here's something else Steve Ott said. "I really don't think that all players are aware of it or even think they're playing that poorly. You get into a video session, and according to the captain, the tape doesn't lie. Watching video today, we lacked a lot of that." You lack a lot of things on the ice, Buffalo Sabres. I'm not just blaming you as individual players. I'm also blaming the coach. The coach needs to go. When you can't even, Ryan Miller has thrown in the towel. Vanek has thrown in the towel. Ott is next to throw in the towel. Even with Matt Molson, he's instantly merging on the line with Ennis and Hodgson, and you still didn't even manage to score a goal last night. You were beaten by the hapless Rangers, who have only 20 goals this entire season. The only team with less goals scored than the Buffalo Sabres. Granted, in that first period, Lundqvist was peppered with shots, but I don't know what happened. Maybe some of the kids in the audience who went trick-or-treating before the game should have passed out candy and put the Sabres players on a sugar buzz. Because they had nothing. They showed nothing. No heart, no determination, no tempo, no nothing. It was atrocious, a travesty. And I blame the coach. Simply put, Ralston, you suck. You can't motivate a team that's young to do well in the NHL. Players who haven't been there before. And I don't understand it. You have players who have never been there before, who are young, who need to learn the game, who are learning from you how to not compete? How to not play the game the proper way? Are you kidding me? This virus, I'm calling it Virus Ralston, is spreading. It's spread to Thomas Vanek. It's spreading to Ryan Miller. It's going to spread to Ott. It's going to spread to everyone on that team. The truth is, Matt Molson's going to be traded. The truth may be this. You might not even be able to trade Matt Molson because of what you're going to implement that Ron Ralston is going to implement in his brain. I mean, are you kidding me? Don't get me wrong. Buffalo had few and far between. I mean, think about this. After the first period, the Rangers had 19 shots on goal. 19. You know how many of the Sabres had? 6. A paltry 6 shots on goal. I mean, I'm baffled. The Rangers have looked like trash. The Rangers have looked like garbage. The Rangers haven't looked like anything, and yet you made them look like ice dancers on the ice last night, skating in unison, Sabres. What is that all about? I mean, I don't understand. Ryan Miller faced 46 shots, 29 total shots for the Sabres. And guess what? Saturday night, 10-3-1, Anaheim comes into the First Niagara Center. Are you seriously? Seriously. Now, a lot of people are saying, and we had Caitlin Campbell on talking about Ryan Miller throwing in the towel on this team. I would throw in the towel if I was him too. Facing 30, 40, upwards of almost 50 shots a game from a team that doesn't want to play on the ice. I mean, let's call up Disney. Let's get the actors from the first original Mighty Ducks movie on. Nice. They'll put in a better effort than this. Sorry. The coach is the one to get the best out of the players. And this guy can't even get a penny's worth of effort from his players. And what's going to happen? Well, now Ryan Miller's going to be traded. He's going to be traded to the Colorado Avalanche. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. This team will be lucky to win 5 home games this entire year. That's how pathetic they are. And yet, to the credit of the fans, you are very loyal. You are very passionate Sabre fans. This has nothing to do with the fans. This has nothing to do with the players. Once again, hashtag it on Twitter. Fire Ralston. Let's start it going. Enough of the fire Darcy. Fine. But what are you not seeing on the ice? How is there not more of an uproar about this guy? I heard him today. He was making comments about, well, we're doing our best. We're turning the corner. Turning the corner to what? The back end of the Zamboni? I mean, give me a freaking break. This guy, the great teacher, the great man to lead a young team, is leading them to the doldrums of the NHL. It's a paltry. It's appalling. It's disastrous. I come home after trick-or-treating. My feet are soaking wet. The kid, my daughter had a great time. My son, 6 months old, slept in the stroller most of the time. But I come home, I'm like, all right, let's put on the Sabres. Let's see what they're doing. The Rangers suck. This is going to be fun. And I look up, and I'm looking, and I see 19 shots, first period. 6 shots for the Sabres. And I almost turned it off. At the end of the second period, I'm like, this game is not going to turn around. You know what I did? I went to Netflix, started watching something on Netflix. That's what I did. I didn't even watch the third period. That's how disgusted I was with the lack of effort that this team put on the ice. It's not one period of hockey. It's not 5 minutes worth of hockey. It is 60 minutes on the ice, nonstop action. That's what you give the fans. That's what you give yourselves. And your players, you're letting yourselves down by letting influence of this guy who's not teaching you anything. As a player, you should be slapped in the face. Wake up. You're in the NHL. Who cares about this coach who can't do anything? Follow your dream. Play your heart out. Play for your team. Play for, even if you want to be selfish, play for the name on the back of your jersey. Play for some kind of pride. The players aren't even doing that. The coach is a virus. He is a disease. He is like the Black Plague in the 1800s. He is going to affect that entire team if they're not careful. This could be the worst team the NHL has ever seen if this continues on. And I really hope Darcy is listening. And I hope someone from the Buffalo Sabres organization is listening, because I speak the truth. And if Ralston wants to come on this show and defend himself and tell me why I am wrong, I would love to hear it. I welcome it. With arms 716-376-9888. Defend yourself, please. Am I the only one who sees this? Am I the only one in an uproar? I mean, come on. Seriously. And somebody was saying, the second period, Mouth, was a little bit of an improvement. They consistently got shots off. They moved the puck on the offensive end. But it doesn't matter. They didn't put the biscuit in the basket. They're consistently inconsistent. They have a good period here. They have a good shift here. It's disgusting. You need constant hockey all the time. Constant shifts. Consistency. Molson is merging on that first line. He's vibing. And what do? Nothing. Again, 36 seconds into the game, you gave up 3 shots and are already in the box. That does not set well. If I'm a coach on the sideline, I'm ripping that tie off. I'm yelling at players. That jacket is coming off. I'm going over to stand in the penalty box. I'm looking over the penalty box and yelling, obscenities at my player for within 36 seconds. You're in the penalty box. And you know what? They panned over on MSG and you see Ralston just gray hair, glasses, just he couldn't give 2 craps. It's unbelievable. I mean, and the third period was basically a shooting range. No goals, just a few shots here and there. I'm turning red in the face with anger and frustration that no one else is seeing this. And it just, and this is what Ryan Miller says after the game. He was angry. He was pissed. And this is what he says, and I quote, "When everyone wants this to stop, it'll stop. We seem to be making more situations for ourselves than even the other team can create. It's on us, to dig out of it and start having the right attitude and approach." So he's even saying that the players have lost it. And where does this come from? It comes from the head coach, simply put, end of story. And here it is. Here's his last line of this quote from Ryan Miller, the goalie, the rock of this team. It's been a lot of games searching, trying to figure it out. Enough's enough. He said it right there. His whole quote summed up 2 words. Enough is enough. Fire Ralston. Joe the Mouth, a fired up mouth on a Friday. Football Friday, 4:17 and counting. Gonna pay the bills when we come back. Brandon Croce, featured Bills columnist on BleacherReport.com, will join us. Be right back.
With the Mouth on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Friday live right here, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. The Mouth, the Cage. We're doing it big right here. As I said, got a nice guest coming on right now. He is the featured columnist for the Buffalo Bills on BleacherReport.com. Brandon Croce joins me right now. Brandon, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for taking the time to come on today, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. Right before I came on the air, Thad Lewis was still listed as doubtful. It seems more and more, from what I'm understanding or hearing, it's going to be Jeff Toole. What do you think about that, and do you have any more knowledge of the situation?
I don't have any more knowledge of it other than that he is doubtful with the rib injury and illness. It sounds like the flu from what I've read. As for Toole's the starting quarterback, it definitely hurts Bill's offense. It takes away from like read option, things like that. I think one of the reasons why Lewis has kind of excelled or played better than expectations is because of the fact that he is very similar to Manuel in terms of what he brings to the table. With Toole, he doesn't have that mobility like Manuel or Lewis, so it definitely is going to, I think, hurt Buffalo against Kansas City.
Absolutely, and another thing that's come up big in another injury area is C.J. Spiller's going to play. Now, I don't know, he did sit out last week. Even if he's not 100%, are Buffalo's chances, especially if they might not be with Thad Lewis, are they better with him on the field, even if he's not 100%?
It's hard to say. I mean, you watched him the 3 games before he sat out, and you could tell he was hurt, and he'd run one play, and then he'd come out. Preferably, if he's not 100%, I would say sit him again, because you put him back on the field early, now you're going to push the process back another 2 weeks. Whereas if you let him sit out another week, he could be more available for that stretch run when the schedule gets easier.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing I'm questioning and I'm looking at is, with Toole in there, if he's the starter, your options for offense is limited. You don't really have those big play guys. Besides Stevie Johnson, do you see another wide receiver being able to step up this week? Because that's another area where it's been inconsistent. Roberts Woods was good when EJ was on the field. Graham hasn't been all he's shaked up to be. I mean, someone needs to help Stevie. Do we see anybody stepping up this week for the Buffalo Bills at wide receiver?
The guy I'm looking at is Scott Chandler. He's coming back from that ACL injury, and he's looked much better as the weeks have gone on. I mean, he was tied for receptions and yards against New Orleans. With an inexperienced quarterback like Toole, you're going to need that escape valve. You're going to need that quick shot. And Chandler, with the size he's got, I think he could definitely play a big role.
Absolutely. And then you bring up a good thing. Scott Chandler, 7 receptions, 72 yards last week, kind of matched what Stevie did. Now, if they're going to have to, we know how good the Chiefs' defense is, the biggest most sacks in the NFL right now. Is that going to take away? Because aren't they going to have to use Chandler in the run blocking scheme at some point?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this offensive line, and that's something I've noticed. It's almost like they've regressed as the season's gone on. Last year with Vitri, and the offensive line was one of the strengths, and it's surprising to see how they've actually become somewhat of a weakness. They can't. I mean, Thad Lewis was a sitting duck back there against the Saints. He was just getting pummeled. And, they've given up 13 sacks over the last 3 games. I think they only gave up like 20-something all last year. And it's just I don't know what it is, but they definitely are going to have to keep Chandler. They're going to have to keep Jackson back there in terms of blocking with Houston and Hallie coming to town.
Absolutely. Joe the Mouth here talking to Brandon Croce, featured Bills writer on BleacherReport.com. And Brandon, another thing that comes up here, you bring up the offensive line. You know, how big of a loss really is Levitre? They haven't been able to find anyone from there. And what happened? Like you said, they only gave up 28 sacks last year. How does a unit so good regress so fast in just 1 year?
The one thing I'm looking at, and it's kind of funny that we ran him out of town, but I think Fitzpatrick kind of hit a lot of the weaknesses of the offensive line. I mean, he was checking down a lot, and people want to bust him for that, but he was getting the ball out quick. He wasn't taking a lot of hits. And I think with these inexperienced quarterbacks, it's taking them a little bit longer to read defenses and read routes. And they're holding the ball that split second more, and they're taking the hits and they're taking the sacks because of it. Absolutely.
And now, you bring up defense, and let's talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills defense. I think the defense, the biggest key to this game, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is Eric Fisher versus Mario Williams. You know, Fisher's a rookie. He's going to have to block Mario Williams. You know they're going to put some double teams on him. Mario Williams is living up to his contract. Besides that matchup, I mean, is that a key matchup in your opinion, Bills, that side of the Bills defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this defensive line, and it's kind of been a year past what they've envisioned, but Mario Williams is making everyone else on that defensive line better. You look at Marcel Darius, Kyle Williams, they're getting in, and they're getting one-on-one matchups that they're winning. Kyle Williams had, I think, a sack and a half last week against New Orleans.
Yep.
If Mario Williams is effective, they have to double-team him. They have to throw a running back at him, chop block. That opens up for everyone else to get to the line.
Absolutely, it does. So we talked a little bit about the Bills. Let's be honest here, and we're both not just Bills fans. We're both football fans in general. I mean, is it a fluke? Is it luck? How are the Kansas City Chiefs going from 2-14 to 8-0 this year? What do you accredit that to?
Honestly, I don't think the Chiefs are as bad as their 2-14 record. I mean, they had 6 Pro Bowlers last year on that team. And you bring in a veteran coach, you bring in a veteran quarterback, they have the talent. They have an explosive running back in Charles. They have the wide receiver in Bo. I think it was just they need that little bit of direction. Now, their schedule obviously has played a big factor into that. They played the easiest schedule, but at the same time, can you really fault a team for playing the schedule the NFL gives them?
No,
I mean, the name of the game is to win the games, and they beat the teams that they're supposed to.
Yeah, oh no, that's very true there. And the other key question that comes up is Andy Reid. You know, you've seen him when he was with the Eagles. He was a pass guy all the time. Now he doesn't have a great passing quarterback, and he's learning to run the ball. As much as you attribute it to the easy success of the schedule, how much of this do you put on Andy Reid for putting this turnaround for this Chiefs team?
Like I said, I think it was a lot to do with direction for that team. And they are running the ball more, but you look at Alex Smith, he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't throw interceptions. I think that has played a big part into how they've been able to win these games, because you look at the games, even though they played bad teams, they haven't blown them out. They've played a lot of tough games down to the wire, almost like the Bills, but it seems like the Bills have made those mistakes either early on that they've had to dig out of a hole from, or they've made them late, and it's cost them the game. So
with all that being said, the Chiefs have won the games they're supposed to win. The Bills playing close games, just not finding a way to finish. How do you forecast or foresee this game coming out on Sunday?
If Thad Lewis was in there, I think Buffalo wins. What I saw with Toole in Cleveland, even though it was a very small sample size, and I have zero confidence in Matt Flynn. I don't think he doesn't know the offense, and he's already been dropped from 2 teams in the last 2 years. I still think it's going to be a close game, but I think the mistakes at that quarterback position is going to be the difference in the game. I still say it's probably within a touchdown. You're going to be talking 24 or 21, somewhere in that, mid-20s. But I think the Chiefs extend to 9-0.
So, but is there, and there's this rumbling, especially I know around here in Olean and talking to Bills fans, there is a reason to have hope, though, that they could win this game, regardless of who's at the quarterback position, you think, or you only think the Bills win this if Thad Lewis plays?
No, I mean, the Bills have been in every one of their games, minus the Saints game. And so there absolutely is hope. If they're able to control the clock and run the ball and Mario Williams is able to get after Smith, they absolutely could win this game. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the Chiefs are already going to be 9-0.
No, that's true. And I think, and my thing is the only reason Toole gets the nod over Flynn is because if that's the case, he knows the offense better, right? I mean, you would rather see Toole than Flynn, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I think the person that I would have liked to have seen, and I don't know if it was possible, but was bring Dennis Dixon in. He's got a little bit more experience in the offense, and he has the same skill set as Emmanuel, as Thad Lewis, and they can run the read option. I think with Toole at quarterback, the read option is completely off the table.
Why hasn't that name been brought up? I've talked to a lot of guys, read a lot of reports, and you were the only guy to mention Dennis Dixon. Why hasn't anyone else thought of it? I mean, to me, that sounds like a much better idea than Toole or Flynn.
I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I think it may have to do with roster spots, because obviously you bring him onto the active roster, you're going to have to cut someone. I don't know if they wanted to have to release someone, or they were afraid if they bring Dixon in, you lose Flynn, and you basically have lost all your NFL experience at quarterback.
That's true. I mean, like you said, coming into this game, you got an undefeated team. You got a team that at 3-5, that could be a lot better than that, but I think it's going to be a close game. Me personally, Brandon, I picked the Bills to win, but like you said,
both get after the quarterback. They're 1 and 2 in the NFL in sacks. So I think it is going to be a very close game. I think it just comes down to who makes the fewest mistakes.
Absolutely. Brandon, let them know how they can follow you on Twitter and where to find your writing, man.
I'm on thebleacherreport.com, and you can follow me at Twitter at Brandon Cross.
Brandon, you've been a real pleasure to have on, man. I appreciate you taking out the time to talk about this Bills-Chiefs game.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem, man. My man, Brandon Croce, BleacherReport.com. Brilliant guest, man. He had a lot of poignant things to say. And, the mouth picks the Bills. It's the truth. I do pick the Bills. I'm not discrediting at all what Brandon said. He made some great points, and the Chiefs have played their last 3 games at home. They're looking to stay undefeated before they go into their bye, and the Bills are coming off a tough loss. Like I said on the show, last week, they were going to get a whooping from the Saints, and hopefully they learned that. And still, as Thad Lewis is doubtful, he hasn't clearly been ruled out. Not yet. And, to just say that we're going to have Toole or Matt Flynn, it just hurts. I mean, it hurts to have to say that one of those two guys are going to be starting quarterback, possibly because Thad Lewis can't go. But I think if Thad can go, if he wakes up, it's still only Friday. Remember that. It is still only Friday. You got 2 days to go. They don't really have to make a decision until Sunday morning when they say they got to make it. But he's got a little bit of the flu. Stick some fluids in him. Strap those ribs up. We know how resilient. We know how determined. We know how great of an athlete Thad Lewis is. If he can go, he's going to go. 716-376-9888. The magical digits to dial to get on with the mouth. Right here, The Cage. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. You can follow me on Twitter @_Joel the Mouth. Email the show, cage@colonialme.com. Facebook.com/sportsradio 93.9 WVTT. Want to let you guys know, on our sister station, WVTT 96.7, you can check out the NFL doubleheader. Coverage beginning at 12:30 this Sunday. First game, Saints at the Jets, Bucks at the Seahawks. Bucks at the Seahawks. 0-8 Bucks against the Seahawks. That's going to be a drubbing. Saints are going to drub the Jets. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And another reminder, Tuesday night, November 5th, the Bonnie's Pep Rally. Let's go, Bonnie's, at the Riley Center, 7 to 9, right here. It's a live event. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. The players, coaches will have comments from the students. You can meet them. Come down, meet the mouth as well. We'll be out in the community doing some great stuff for the community. Chiefs Bills on Sunday as well. Action-packed weekend in sports, Buffalo area. So be tuned for that. We got to pay those bills as we do. It's about 4:36 and counting. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Bills and Chiefs, and we'll highlight some of the other games in the NFL Week 9. The mouth, the cage. We'll be right back.
Local sports talk for Olean. the way it's supposed to be. Just a bunch of guys and gals talking sports and having fun. Call in right now to be a part of the show. 716-376-WVTT or email us at cage@colonialme.com. The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
And we're back. Friday edition, Football Friday, The Cage, The Mouth, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. You heard the man. I'll say it again. 716-376-9888. Magical digits to dial. If you want to get on the air, you can also email the show, cage@colonialme.com. Hit me up on Twitter @_Joe the Mouth. And speaking of Twitter, I got to give a big shout out to Gina X out there in Buffalo. She heard my rant about Ralston. She thought it was epic and classic, and she hopes that makes the round and goes viral. Well, I hope it does. Start the hashtag Virus Ralston, hashtag Virus Ralston, all one word, or make another hashtag Fire Ralston. You want to do the Fire Darcy chants? Fine, whatever. At the first Niagara, but you gotta fire Ralston. It starts from the head coach. I'm telling you, as much as we can sit here and blame Darcy, and all you want to say is about the GM, you have to hold the coach accountable at some point. And I've always said this, coming through sports, is the simple fact is this. A lot of times when a team is doing brilliantly well, exceeding expectations, the players don't get enough credit. Or individual players get credit, but not the whole team. In this case, when the team is doing bad, your first instinct is to blame the coach. And in this case, it is 1,000%, a billion, trillion, undeterminable amount percent of numbers that it is Ralston's fault. There is nothing in my mind disputing otherwise. And if you have an opinion about this, if you think I'm dead wrong, if you think I'm a moron, you think I'm an idiot, you think I'm unintelligent, let me know, please. 716-376-9888. Or if you love my opinion, just like my girl Gina, think I'm a genius, let me know too. I take compliments as much as I take the negativity. Don't be shy. But with that said, I also want to bring up, back to the Bills. And like I said, the Bills can definitely be a good standard right here and a good chance to win. I know that Thad Lewis may or may not play, but I don't think that individually, single-handedly, is going to make a difference. It would be a bonus. It would be a huge bonus if Thad is playing. And like I said, doubtful is not out. He is not out, okay? That's the simple fact of the matter. Doubtful isn't out. So until it stated otherwise that Thad Lewis is out, I'm going to stay hopeful. I'm going to say he's going to get over the flu. He's going to get the IV drip. He's going to get those ribs taped up. He's going to be ready to go, and he's going to play. He is going to play. And, I was thinking about another thing. And, someone just asked me on Twitter, @_Joe the Mouth, and they said, Mouth, you never mentioned if you're going to fire Ralston, who you bring in. And you know who I say? Assistant coach Joe Sacco. I'm telling you, a young guy, a great hockey mind. He's been there before. He's done great. He's a guy who I think has the youthful exuberance to invigorate and put a fire under this Buffalo Sabres team. Assistant coach, I'm telling you. Joe Sacco, Sacco, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I know who I'm talking about. Played for the Colorado Avalanche, was right there with Joe Sakic, was right there when Patrick Waugh was there, and he did great. So, I really think he would be a good guy to get on this team. Like I said, you need someone to invigorate, light a fire under these guys. Exuberance, youthful exuberance on a youthful team, doesn't that go hand in hand? If 1 + 1 is 2, then youth and youth equals good stuff. A guy who has something to prove as a coach, players that have something to prove, It's like it's like you're doing needlepoint. It's going right through the hole. You're making a beautiful needlepoint thing, a blanket, a quilt, whatever you do. You're crocheting, whatever. It would be a beautiful union for that team. I really believe it. I mean, it's not like you can bring back Lindy Ruff. I'm sure everyone in Buffalo would go crazy for that, but that's not going to happen. He's with the Stars. But, Joe Sacco would be a great addition, I think, to this team and to lead the youth movement of this team. That's the truth. So back to the Bills right here. Kansas City's allowing 4.7 yards per carry this season. And that's horrible. And they've extremely upgraded their run defense up front with Mike DeVito, Poe, Jackson. I mean, when these guys are on the field, they're just getting it. They're just getting it. And I think without C.J. Spiller being 100%, without Fred Jackson being 100%, I think, that would be tough. It's going to be tough to gain traction if these guys are not 100%. And I made a mistake, and I want to thank, Kevin Canessa. He's out there in Florida, the Southeast producer of the show, helps me out when I make missteps. And I'm not 100% correct, and I make mistakes, and I'm one of those hosts who admits when they make mistakes. I'm not right all the time. I have no problem eating crow. And Sacco never played for the Avalanche. He played for Philly, Washington, Anaheim, and even my beloved Islanders. How do I forget that? How could I be so stupid? But another instance of why the mouth is the best show around. I don't sit here and tell you in plausible deniability that no, for sure he played for the No. I was wrong. I admit it. I apologize. I correct myself and move on. That's the way to do it. Some of these other guys, I won't go into names specifically, but we can all think of one guy who is never wrong, who has never said a wrong thing in his life, who knows the stats, the facts are 100% true. We won't name names here. But I think everyone listening, especially in this market and we're in the state of New York, and I'm talking about the most famous guy in New York on the radio. I think I enough is said without naming names there. But that's a guy who never admits when he's wrong. I will sit here and tell you that I was wrong. That's the difference. That's why you should call the show. That's why you need to talk to me. You need to be interactive because I'm not going to blow you off. I'm not going to rip your head off. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. The only thing I don't tolerate, and that jerk-off from Texas who called this week, was the epitome of stupidity. I do not allow stupidity on this show. You are allowed to have an opinion. Whether I agree with that opinion or not, that's not the case. That's not a big deal to me. If you could sway my opinion, then you've done something truly brilliant. 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial, as I like to say. @_ Joel the Mouth, Facebook.com/SportsRadio939 WVTT. Cage @ ColonialME.com. Amazing how I can say all those things and barely take a breath, right? And we got a caller on the line, so I'm going to bring him right on and see. And I try not to make people wait, so we're going to get right to this caller. And I guess that was it. They just hung up on me. I guess I must have upset them while they were waiting on hold. I know I didn't make them wait that long, so I don't get it. Well, like I said, 716-376-9888. I guess you got nervous. All right, caller, if you're sitting there, don't be nervous. Take a deep breath, collect your thoughts, and come back. It's okay. Come on back. Come on back. 716-376-9888. As a matter of fact, I'm just about here at the top of the hour, so you can compose yourself. I'm going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the first hour. We'll get into my final prediction for the Bills-Chiefs. We'll move on to the rest of the NFL. That's happening Week 9. Not the greatest matchups on the slate this week, but there's some fun, especially if you're following your team. The Mouth, the Cage, hour number 2 about to come at you right here. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, 716-376-9888. We'll be right back.
You want real sports talk for real sports fans? Listen to The Mouth right here on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
That's right. Real sports talk for real sports fans. And yes, that was Jim Rome telling you to listen to the show. The Cage, the Mouth. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. Hour number 1 is just about wrapping up here. We're just about here at the top of the hour. When we come into hour number 2, I'll talk a little bit about some of the other NFL matchups between that and the 5:17 break. And then after the 5:17 break, for all you basketball heads out there, I am going to put an epic rant, just like I did at the top of the show, and I'm blasting Carmelo Anthony, Knick fans. Blasting him. He's trash. He's garbage. He's overrated. You'll hear all my opinions on Carmelo Anthony after the 5:17 break, so remember that. But just to make you feel old, sports fans, I put this together just for us old people out there. And this is just, it kind of struck me when I read this. So we got 2 minutes here before the top of the hour, so let me read this. 12 years ago, the XFL started. 12 years. How about this other one? For all you high school seniors out there, listen to this. Most high school seniors were not alive when Michael Jordan wore the number 45. How about another one? Remember 12 years ago? Danny Almonte? That kid is now 26 years old. All you college basketball guys, Rick Pitino has been at Louisville for 4 seasons longer than he was at Kentucky. And for all you Madden players out there, if you played Madden before the Madden curse, yes, that was the year 2000, the final year. Madden himself was on the cover. And 2 final ones, these were both happened 17 years ago. Space Jam, the movie and soundtrack, and the dance craze that struck the world, the Macarena. How about that? Yes, and the Dolphins won on a safety. I don't know what else you want me to say about that. It's a Thursday night game. I'm happy the Dolphins won. I thought they had no chance to win that game. They surprised me. They played, they did their thing. They won the game. Cameron Wake with the sack, and he did his thing. And simple fact of the matter is the Dolphins won. Doesn't matter how win, lose, or draw. An ugly win is still a win. Hour number 2 coming right up the Cage.
Welcome to The Cage.
When I grow up, I want to be a rock star.
Live, local sports talk for the Twin Tiers. This is your chance to call in and talk sports with the experts. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NASCAR, and more. Put your rage in the cage by calling 716-376-WVTT or emailing cage@colonialme.com. Welcome to The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Sit back, relax, turn the speakers up. Hour number 2 is getting underway. The Cage, the Mouth, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. You heard the man on the dial right there. 716-376-9888. The magical digits to dial. Now, I know I'm getting to you, Olean, Twin Tiers. You're picking up the phone, you're calling. But don't hang up before you get on air. I've had 3 times today. Callers call in, and as soon as I'm getting ready to pick them up, they're hanging up. Now, am I doing something wrong? Am I making you nervous? Do I need to speak like, when I'm talking and correcting my daughter in a nice way? You need to calm down? Am I too excitable for you guys? Don't worry. Just call 716-376-9888. Talk about the Bills. Talk about the Sabres. Whatever you guys feel like talking about. But I'm bringing the intensity. I'm bringing the passion. So just so you know, but you guys can call the show. You can also get me at Twitter, too, @_Joel the Mouth. You can get me there. Big shout out to my man, Joseph Duraku, big NBA fan. He says he's excited for me to blast Carmelo Anthony at 5:17. So big shout out at King Drak, Joseph Duraku, friend of mine, man, for checking out the show. So I really appreciate it. You can check us out on, if you don't live in the Twin Tiers area and you listen to me online, the TuneIn Radio app is great. iPhone, Android, tablet, laptop, desktop, countertop, where your phone and your watch. I heard there's phones that have watches. It's in a watch now, so you can listen to me any way possibly. There's no excuse not to listen to the best sports talk show around. The Cage, the Mouth. It's here, heard right here. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. I give you the truth. That's the simple fact of the matter. Whether you're a fan of the teams in the area, the Bills, the Sabres, the Bonnies, whether you're upset I picked against the Bills last week, you're happy that I'm picking the Bills this week, I'm not a homer. The only team that I am blind to any wrongdoing, no matter what, is the New York Mets. And that's not really saying much. Okay? That's the truth. Who cares? Well, it's not like the Mets have won 27 world championships like that other team in New York. So what if I'm a little homerish toward the Mets? Does that hurt anyone? Does me saying that the Mets are going to be good one day, does that really strike you? Do you really care? Do you really care that I think that the Mets should not go anywhere near Johan Santana? I'm glad they declined his option. I don't want them to give him a penny of Mets dollars. Not for a minor league deal, not for any kind of deal anywhere to be in a Mets uniform, period. And I know there are Yankee fans out here, so I'm going to put this out there. Derek Jeter got a raise. How about that? He played 17 games last year. He had a $9.5 million player option. They didn't give it to him, so they decided to just pay him $12 million for 1 year. I like Derek Jeter. I respect him as a ball player. He's done a lot for the game. He's held himself the right way, but if I showed up for work 17 times out of 182 days, do you think I would have a job? Or do you think I would be fired? I mean, I don't really know. I have no idea. And, I gotta get an email here. We just got an email. I'm checking the emails as we're going to the show. Dear Joel the Mouth, I listen to you while I sleep. I work nights, so your show helps me get me through my sleep patterns. Thanks, Leo from Pennsylvania. I appreciate it, Leo. Like I said, listener audience from everywhere. We check emails. We'll read any email in the show, positive, negative, tweets, positive, negative. It doesn't matter. I'm not scared. Facebook.com/SportsRadio939 WVTT. But Derek Jeter getting a raise? I might have read it only at face value. There might be more to this story, but he's making $12 million for 1 year. He's a year older. He's not going to be the same player. I just don't get it. I don't get it. 716-376-9888. I got another quick response here. Joel, Derek Jeter is the best player in baseball history. In history. Leave his contract alone. What gives with you, bro? Steve from Olean. Emails are just pouring in. Cage@colonialme.com. Steve, truth be told, he's not the best baseball player in the world, number one. That honor goes to Miguel Cabrera. He is over the hill. It's like, I'll put it to you this way. If to get a raise, what the Yankees just did was they brought back on, we'll take this in terms of a used car, okay? The Yankees, who could go out and buy a new 2014 Mercedes-Benz, you know what they did? They just refurbished a Ford Pinto. That's basically what they did. At any point, you remember, I think it was the Pinto, you back up into it and it blows up. Well, if anything happens to Derek Jeter, he could go down for the entire season again. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Mercedes? Pinto. What do you think is better? I don't know. Is that a really tough decision? Give me a break, Steve. 716-376-9888. Magical digits to dial. Let's go back to the NFL here. Pittsburgh at New England. We had Greg Giannotti on yesterday talking about this matchup. And it's at 425. And though the Patriots and Steelers have not met in the postseason since 2004, this matchup is a must-see rivalry. And I think even though this year you look at it, New England being 6-2, Pittsburgh being 2-5, it's kind of pedestrian the way that the Patriots are doing it. Tom Brady's Patriots offense, outside of the weak 2 win over the Jets, and the Week 5 loss in Cincinnati, they're trying to put points on the board. They have put points on the board. And they're getting the things done that they need to get done. Truth be told, things are happening for them. And, when you look at Tom Brady, you just got to say things are coming with age. Tom Brady is obviously not the same quarterback he once was. He never will be. Age hurts everybody. Age hurts everybody. It's the truth. It happens, especially in the NFL. So I think, this is going to surprise some people, but I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers in the upset. I truly am. I think the Steelers can do it. Another game, you got the Saints at the Jets. What do you want me to say? The Bills got shellacked. The Jets got shellacked by the Bengals. The Saints are putting up another 40-burger, as Warren Sapp would say. A 40-burger on the New York Jets. It's not happening. The Jets secondary is garbage. Cromartie is garbage. The Saints caused havoc on Thad Lewis. They'll be able to do the same thing to Geno Smith, period. So the Jets don't stand a chance. Not a chance. Other games going on. Baltimore at Cleveland. 3-4 Baltimore, 3-5 Cleveland. The Browns are in, a must-win mode. A loss would not, they would be 3-6. And then they would be 0-2 against the Ravens. So, and you look at it really for the Ravens, the situation is not much rosier for them either. Baltimore has, a Week 10 show off, next week against the Bengals. So, this is a must-win for the Ravens. And I think you look at the way that the Browns played last week against the Chiefs with Jason Campbell at the helm. They stayed in there strong. They held their own against the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. They did their best. And then Josh Gordon had a breakout game in fantasy. My buddy David's funny story, truth right here. I was playing him in fantasy last week. I beat him by, I think the exact amount was like 23, 24 points. Had he played Josh Gordon, who he was sitting on his bench, he would have won. Or he at least would have tied me. So, Josh Gordon's going to be good. Jason Campbell likes that target. So, by the way, just a quick piece of fantasy advice here. If you have Josh Gordon, I'd start him. Just a little tidbit. I know I'm not a fantasy guru, but just something I thought I would say here. But, with that being said, I think, both teams, if you would have told me at the start of the season that both Baltimore and Cleveland would have the same amount of victories going in, and I would have thought that you would have been crazy. And we just got another email here. I as they pop up, I like to read them right here on the show. So here we go. He goes, I don't even have a name, but he's, oh, no, he does. He does have his name at the bottom of the email. So he goes, "Hi, Joel. I'm a used car salesperson. Please don't compare that lousy Derek Jeter to selling used cars. Now my profession is tainted forever. Sincerely, Jimmy G in Queens. P.S. Love the show. It's about time there's something to listen to other than Mike Francesa. The guy who you can't keep awake during his interviews." Wow. Jimmy, hey, I appreciate that, man. Give me humbling thoughts to know that I entertain the masses. So I appreciate all the kind words and all you guys emailing the show, man. cage@colonialme.com. Keep them coming. Maybe it's a little hard to talk on the phone. You rather express yourselves in written word. Hey, that's fine with me. Some people get nervous, but those 3 people who called and hung up before they got on the air, don't be scared. Don't be scared, man. Definitely don't be scared. And we got another tweet here. Let me see what the tweet is from. My man, Chris Luft. He's saying the Saints will blow out the Jets easily. Absolutely. I completely agree with Chris there. He's a loyal listener of the show as well. So big shout out to you, Chris, man. You're up there over in Albany. He's going to the Albany Devils game tonight, I believe. That's what he was saying. So big shout out from all over the place. Next game, right? Oh, and by the way, my prediction here for this is the Cleveland Browns are going to win. Yep. So far, yes, I picked the Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Who would have thought, San Diego at Washington. San Diego's 4-3. The Redskins are 2-5. I think RG3, is starting to find his way out of this funk. But, the receivers are kind of fighting with each other. Fred Davis is not doing that well. And Washington tried to trade him before the trade deadline. That didn't go. And Fred Davis even admitted that he was sleeping during team meetings. So this one's kind of an easy one that, it makes it to pick right here. This is definitely easy. I'm picking the San Diego Chargers over the Washington Redskins, period. Minnesota 1-6 at Dallas 4-4. And a lot of people look at this matchup and you say to yourself, simple, Christian Ponder, they suck. Dallas is getting DeMarco Murray back. You're right. It's a simple pick. Very simple pick. Dallas over Minnesota, no problem. Next up, you got Tennessee at St. Louis. Now, when this season started, you looked at that matchup and you said to yourself, it's going to suck. Well, Jake Locker is something I think he's going to start. He's healthy since the first time since week 4. I think this is going to be interesting to watch because, I want to see Jake Locker. I think he's going to be brilliant. I think he's going to, bring up some good throws. He's going to lead Tennessee. And I think without Sam Bradford, you're going to see Tennessee win this game. So Tennessee in that one. Atlanta at Carolina. When this season started, I thought this would be, a good matchup, a strong matchup, But if I would have told you that Carolina is a better team than the Panthers at the beginning of the season, you would have said, Mouth, you know nothing about football, and you would have laughed me off the air. But now that's what it looks like. And think about this. The last time that Carolina finished the season better than Atlanta in record-wise was 2008. And Atlanta's 22nd ranked defense is going to have its hands full with Cam Newton, a guy I despise, but has been doing brilliant this season. I mean, he's been turning it around. He's been doing his thing. And I think, you got to give him respect. And I try to give respect where respect is due. And I think Cam Newton is kind of earning this. And I think he's done, more than his part to get his props. I still am doubtful. I still am a little bit doubtful on him. But I think, I'm starting to turn a corner on him. I'm starting to see that maybe he wasn't a fluke his first year. Maybe he's developing himself. So we'll see how he plays against the Falcons. 5:17 and counting. The Mouth, the Cage, Football Friday going strong. We're going to take a break. When we come back, 716-376-9888. I am going to rip into two things that happened in the NBA last night that just pissed me off to no end. I tweeted about it. I've been talking about it. And, my man, I'm going to blast both Carmelo Anthony, and I got something to say about Derrick Rose. You're not going to want to miss what I got to say. Paying those bills. We'll be right back.
Disagree with us? Put your rage in the cage.
The Mouth can only be heard here on Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
Football Friday, The Mouth, The Cage, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT, 716-376-9888. And as I promised, and as I've been promoting on Twitter, @_Joel the Mouth, it is time. Knicks fans, I know we're only, 2 games into the season, but here it is. Carmelo Anthony sucks, okay? And I've said this, that he has been the most overrated, underachieving player in the history of the NBA. I'm telling you, when I use the word history of the NBA, I truly believe it. Remember Carmelo Anthony coming out of Syracuse, winning the national championship single-handedly, as I throw in quotations, because we know that it was only Carmelo Anthony on that Syracuse winning basketball team, right? He came in. What has he done? Nothing. He's been nothing but a greedy, selfish player his entire career. What do we say about LeBron James a few years ago? That his game hasn't developed, that he's kind of, not taking it to the next level. What have we always said about certain athletes? That they don't take it to the next level. What has Carmelo Anthony done? Has he taken his game to the next level? Has he proved people wrong? He took 24 shots last night. The second highest on the next team, 14, Felton. 13 for Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench. 8 for 24 last night. And you know what else? It's just mind-blowing is the fact that people sit here and defend Carmelo Anthony. He's a great player. He's going to be MVP. He led the league in scoring last year. It means nothing. You need to make the players around you better. And Jim Dolan saying that the Knicks are going to compete for the NBA Finals in 2014, he must have fell off the new catwalk at MSG and whacked his head. You got a guy who is a selfish, worthless player on this team, and I don't want to hear the excuses that, he's got to blend with Bargnani, and there's no J.R. Smith. I don't care. You can make all the bogus BS excuses you want for Carmelo Anthony. Nothing is going to change this guy. Nothing. He wants to win a title. He's going to change himself, and he hasn't done it. Year after year, game in, game out, he is still the guy taking 25, 30 shots a game and winning you nothing. You know what would have happened last night? D. Rose puts the floater in. Carmelo had the opportunity to drive to the basket. And what does he do? Pops a J. Are you kidding me? Carmelo has no cojones to go to the net to take the basket to the bucket. He won't drive. He's not a physical player. He doesn't play defense. He is not an all-around basketball player. He is a scorer. That is it. He is a scorer. He has no other attributes that is good in the NBA. His defense is lacking. His leadership quality, I don't even think he knows what the word leadership is. He is lost on the court. Jason Kidd was, a guy who was in a leadership role. I have never heard leadership and Carmelo Anthony in the same sentence. Never, not once. And I went to SI.com, and there's something saying there that, Melo is going to try to bring in talent to New York. Really? Listen, hey, I'm Carmelo Anthony. I want to take 50 shots a game. You want to come play with me? We're not going to win a championship or anything. I just want cool pieces looking next to me just so, you can make me look better. Get out of here. Do you know what some of the teams are doing? And you might criticize big threes and this and that and whatnot. But LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh, they took less money. They worked together as a team. You might hate the Miami Heat. You might hate what they stand for. You might hate the fact that they're going to win 3 NBA championships in a row. In my prediction, they're going to be the first team since 83 to 87. Larry Bird-led Celtics to make 4 straight finals appearances. You may hate all of that. But the one thing that you cannot hate on if you are an NBA fan is they play team basketball. The NBA is, we always talk about the other sports, how it's important there's no I in team. Carmelo Anthony, if you spell out the word mellow, M-E-L-O, what stands out to you? M-E, me. Carmelo is a me player. Me first. Me. You will never win anything in any professional sport if you are selfish. That is true. Never. And I don't care that you'll sit here and say, well, teams have gotten better. Teams have made the playoffs. I don't care if every single team ever Melo's been on has made the playoffs. They haven't won anything. Now, the other thing in the NBA that just is atrocious to me is all this talk about Derrick Rose, how he's back, how he's great. Oh, he does look great. His quickness, cuts to the basket. The floater was brilliant last night. But how, after 2 games and combined, let me tell you this, folks, 2 games into the NBA season, a guy who's out for a year, 18 months with an ACL tear is back. And in 2 games, he shot 11 of 38 for 28%, 9 turnovers, 7 assists. Last night, he went 7 of 23 with 4 turnovers, and yet because he makes one game winner, he's back. He is not back yet. He has not proved a thing. Okay? I don't care statistically. He hasn't found a rhythm in the jumper. He hasn't found his passing rhythm. He hasn't found the rhythm to the entire game. You cannot say after 2 games, after not playing an NBA game for 18 months, that you got to stop. You got to take a step back and say, wow, it's early. We can't decide anything after 1 and 2 games. It's not happening. And this other notion, and I'm going to get to this other NBA point here, this notion that somehow the Brooklyn Nets, I was going to say New Jersey Nets, it's just a natural thing. The Brooklyn Nets are somehow better than the Miami Heat. That's a joke in itself. They play, 1 real game together as a unit? So until someone knocks off the Miami Heat, no one is better than the Miami Heat. Period. I don't care on paper. I don't care. No one is better than the Heat until they beat the Heat. The Heat are back-to-back NBA champions. The Heat have made 3 straight finals appearance. 3. So how can you say that anyone is better than the Heat till they prove it? And I don't care that the pundits didn't pick the Heat to win or half of them did. I don't care that I did. The fact in sports is until you beat the best, you're not the best. Until you prove through the course of an entire season that your game is back, you're not back after 2 games. And as much as I love social media, Twitter and Facebook, sometimes people think that social media gives them a free pass to stupidity. Before you send that 140-character tweet, read it for a second. Don't just post it because you can post it. Some of you who follow me on Twitter, you might have noticed that my tweets have kind of declined a little bit. I haven't sent out as much. And that's true. I haven't. It's been more, about some of the, the stuff going on with the Sabres and the Bills. But I'm trying to keep my opinions to myself here and use them on the show. But when I do send out a tweet, I actually try to put some thought into it. Don't use it as a pass for stupidity. Think about what you're saying. Just like this. Here, hashtag Twitter logic. The Lakers won their opening game. The Heat won the opening game. They're going to meet in the NBA Finals. Hashtag Twitter logic. Derrick Rose makes a game-winning shot. He's back. Hashtag D Rose is back. Twitter logic. Okay? Just think about what you're saying. How about this one? Dolphins beat the Bengals. They're now going to the Super Bowl. Hashtag Twitter logic. I mean, get serious sometimes. You guys are all joking me, right? It's unbelievable. 716-376-9888, the magical digits to dial. You want to get in on the show. And follow me on Twitter @_Joe the Mouth. Also email the show, as we've gotten plenty of emails today. So I appreciate the interactivity through the emails. cage@colonialme.com. Just a reminder also here. Tuesday, November 5th, we will be at the pep rally for the St. Bonaventure Bonnies live event. Come down, meet the Mouth, hang out at the Riley Center pep rally. We're going to be talking to I'll be talking to some players, the coaches, some students down there will be there. I don't know. I'll be at one end of the court broadcasting live from the pep rally. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. It's free. It's open to the public. I know St. Bonaventure's Bonnie basketball is huge in the Olean area. So if you're a business out there and you're listening, you want to get on board and be featured during this pep rally, just give us a call here at the office on Monday. We'd love to talk to you guys about doing something, man. It'd be great. Bonnie basketball is huge. Just give us a call at the office, 716-372-9564. That's the office number. You want to get on board and a business and be part of this St. Bonaventure's pep rally. We'd love to have you aboard. So call us down here at the office. You can ask for me, Joel the Mouth. I'd be happy to help you out with that stuff. So that's a Tuesday event, first event in the community of many, because, you got to put a face to what you hear on the radio. I wonder if some of you can imagine what I look like as I'm behind the microphone. Like I have this big, loud voice. Am I this big, ginormous dude? I'm a ginger. What else? If you follow me on Twitter, you know I don't post any personal pictures. You've never seen my face. I have you've seen my face once or twice when I had my son, Carter, and I posted a picture of him and me holding him as wearing his first Mets jersey. So there are some of you that, know what I look like, but still, that's it. Dear Mouth, do you have a last name? So far, all we've heard is Joel or Joel the Mouth or the Mouth. Just curious. Alan in Pennsylvania. Alan, appreciate the time, man, but I love to keep the mystery. The Mouth is good. Joel the Mouth. The Mouth. Sometimes you got to save those mysteries for another time, I can't give you my last name. You might hunt me down, Alan. I don't know you that well, but the Mouth is fine. You guys who are just the Mouth, the Cage, it's boom, it hits you. It's right there. Like Mike Francesa, some of these names, it's like, Evan Roberts, Joe Bedingo. No. It's the Mouth, Joel the Mouth. Boom. That personifies sports talk radio, doesn't it? I mean, a guy who's on the radio and his name is the Mouth. I mean, come on. The last time anything popular was the Mouth was Jimmy the Mouth of the South, the guy from Goonies, okay? And those were all cool characters. Everyone knows the Mouth from Goonies. Everyone knows Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. Well, everyone will soon know Joel the Mouth, the sports radio host. Think of the other popular radio hosts Chris Mad Dog, JT the Brick. Those guys are all popular, I know some of them have Jim Rome, Dan Patrick. They're all normal, but the Mouth. I mean, listen when Scott Farrell says it. You're listening to the Mouth. Sports Radio 9. Like, that's great. The Mouth. You heard, when he does my intros, that's great stuff. So the Mouth is where it's at. We got a tweet here, @_ Joe the Mouth. You can tweet the show. My man Timmy, listening to the show on the TuneIn app. To be the man, woo! You got to beat the man, woo! That's Ric Flair. Timmy knows what I'm talking about. To be the man, you got to beat the man. That's Ric Flair. That's the truth. Styling and profiling, baby. Woo! Woo! Little Ric Flair impression going on over here. By the way, I heard some good reviews about that new WWE wrestling game, 2K14. It has a WrestleMania mode. So if you got that game and you're a wrestler, you got it for PS3 or Xbox 360, let me know how it is. They had, like I said, the road to WrestleMania. They got like the 30, 40-something matches about WrestleMania. You could play like Hogan versus Andre the Giant, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man, Randy Savage, some of the other Stone Cold versus The Rock. You could do some of the greatest matches in WWE history. So if you got that and you played it, I'd love to know how it is. 716-376-9888. Again, the magical digits to dial. You want to get in on the show. I really appreciate it. @_ Joe the Mouth. We read the tweets live on air. So I think I said enough about the NBA. As the season moves on, as we get a little closer, we'll see. And by the way, any Net fans out there, Brooklyn Net fans, you're not winning tonight. You're not better than the Miami Heat. So get that over that notion. I mean, an aging Paul Pierce, an aging Kevin Garnett, it's not happening. So be real with yourself, Net fans. You're going to get annihilated, obliterated on the floor tonight. The Heat shouldn't have lost against the Cavaliers. How they lost the other game, that's beyond me. So, but, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It happens. Got to take a break. Joel the Mouth right here. Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. Paying those bills. We'll be right back.
Warning, the cage contains material that may not be suitable for pansies. Be a part of the program by calling in with your opinions or questions at 716-376-WVTT or email to cage@colonialme.com. This is The Cage on Olean Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
And we're getting ready to wrap up the show here on a Football Friday. Been a classic show. I forgot 3 NFL games. Get to those real quick. And that's why I forgot them. They're kind of pathetic. Tampa Bay 0-8 at Seattle 7-1. What do you want me to say? It's a winless team against Seattle. Give me a break. Philadelphia 3-5 at Oakland 3-5. I say that the Eagles are going to win that one. And then the last one here, the Sunday night game of the week, Indianapolis at Houston. I think the Colts are on a roll. I think the Texans are just on a decline. I mean, they never reached the full potential they really needed to reach. So Texans are going to lose. Colts are going to win that one, no doubt. The mouth hit every single game this week. Glad you guys can listen to the NFL picks. So we're wrapping it up on a Football Friday. Once again, Tuesday, I'm going to hype it up. Friday, I'm going to hype it up. Monday, you're going to be there on Tuesday. So Tuesday, November 5th at the Riley Center, St. Bonaventure's Bonnie's Pep Rally. The Mouth will be there live with Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT. If you're a business and you want to be a part of it, man, give us a call at the station, 716-372-9564. You can give us a call here all over the weekend. Leave a message. We'll return all calls, or you can just call me directly here on Monday. I get here in the morning, so I do a bunch of stuff in the morning. So give a call down to the station, become a business owner. You want to become part of this. I know the Bonnies are huge. Love to have you on board for this live event. Before we go, I got to be excited. The weekend is here. My mom is coming to visit. I'll be picking her up from the airport tomorrow evening. She's going to come into Olean. We're going to go do some things. She wants to go to the zoo in Buffalo. I don't know if it's going to be cold. I don't know how the weather's going to be, but she loves animals. She wants to check out the zoo. I'm excited to see my mom, show her the new place. She lives out on Long Island, and she's flying up to Buffalo. It's a hassle. For anyone who lives on Long Island and knows driving through New York City can be kind of a hassle. 6 hours from Long Island up to Olean is kind of a drive. So I think it's got to be like, I don't know if it's a 6-hour car ride, maybe like an hour flight. I don't even know, but she's definitely coming up on Saturday. I'm excited to see my mom. And my daughter Paige made out like a bandit yesterday in Halloween. And I got to say this. I'm kind of disappointed that more houses here in the Olean area didn't give out candy. I was really surprised. There was they told us, everyone on the radio, leave your light on. You can that's the houses that you'll get candy from. And there wasn't that many. She filled her candy bucket up, no doubt, of course. We made sure. We did a lot of moving around here, walking around the area to get candy for her. She was happy with the candy that she got. So we did that. And the bonus here is we left candy out on my porch where I live in Olean. And nobody came by the house, so she got a extra whole free bag of candy. So I know she was happy with that. And before we go, I also want to say, happy birthday to my buddy. He used to be my manager at Applebee's. Taught me a lot about the kitchen when I was doing culinary work. My man, Brian Perrone of Long Island. I know he's listening in, man. He's 42 years old. He's over that 40 hump, so he's a big Met fan. Happy birthday, Bubba. I hope you're having a fun day, man. Have a drink for me, man. Enjoy yourself. Have some fun. It's the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Other stuff going on tonight, man. I don't know. It's Olean. You're gonna have fun. You gotta go do some stuff. So I'm not really exactly sure what there is to do in the Olean area. I'm still been looking for stuff to do. What I'm probably gonna wind up doing is watching Netflix, and you're gonna laugh. Some of you guys might laugh at this, but I'm still watching Breaking Bad. I was behind. I'm only on season 4, so I still got a ways to go. I'll be watching Breaking Bad. Also, my girlfriend and I, huge fans of Grey's Anatomy, so we'll catch up on the episode we missed last night. So kind of a night in for the Mouth and his family. I spend quality family time at home, and make sure you guys enjoy all the family time you guys spend at home as well, because it's important. Family time is definitely an important time to spend, building relationships with your kids and all that stuff. And I'm just looking at a website here, and I forgot to bring this up, and I know we got a few minutes before the final break of the show. I'll mention this real quick. How obscene is this that Jonathan Martin, the second-round pick of the Miami Dolphins, leaves the team for apparent bullying? Making fun of him, calling him Mr. Weirdo and this and that, and he gets so... I'm sure it had to do with more emotional issues than this, but he left the team, and now there are reports, of course, this is how it works, that his team is supporting his recovery, his health. And are you kidding me? I mean, that's a farce, right? You're kidding, right? You're part of the reason that drove him to this mental breakdown by picking on him, and now you're saying you're being supportive of him? Is that not... I don't get how that works. Did I miss something here? I mean, I have no idea how that works. Like, you pick on the guy, you say that you are now supporting him, but you put him in that fragile mental state. I just don't get it. Other news, and just another reminder here, you can also catch Notre Dame football Saturday on our sister station, the News Radio 96.7 WVTT. They'll have the Notre Dame football game this Saturday. And on Sunday, it's an NFL doubleheader on WVTT 96.7. Saints at Jets, Buccaneers at Seahawks. Coverage kicking off at 12:30 p.m. So you can check out all the NFL stuff. You can do all that. We're going to take our final commercial break a little earlier than normal, so this will give me a way to wrap up the show a little bit longer. So we're going to pay those bills finally, come back, and wrap it all up on a fantastic finish to this Football Friday.
You're inside the cage with the mouth on Olean's only sports station, Sports Radio 93.9 WVTT.
That's right. The cage, the mouth, wrapping it up on a fantastic Football Friday. Couple of things I want to run over here before I get out of here for the weekend. Tonight, starting in just about an hour at 7 o'clock, the Bob 103.9 Hometown Country High School Football Game of the Week for today, November 1st, is Cowanesque Valley at Otto Eldridge. Kickoff starts at 7 p.m. on our sister station, Bob 103.9 Hometown Country. Also, want to remind you guys that Sunday is the 5th annual Great Pumpkin Shoot benefiting the Genesis House in Olean, November 3rd. It is at 1553 Olean Portville Road, and you can come down and check it out. And remember, it's a 3-person team. You can check in. Registration begins at 12 noon. It's $15 per team. But you can win. A grand prize is a 60-inch HD TV. Also, Saturday, November 2nd, starting at 10 a.m., Christmas open house at the Main Street Mercantile in Bradford. So many things going on this weekend. Also want to let you know about some other high school football action going on for this weekend. We got playoffs starting here in New York State high school football. Tonight's games include the Allegheny Mountain League Championship game, Sheffield at Kane, kicking off at 7 p.m. Also tonight at 7:30, the Section 6 Class D semifinal, Ellicottville at Randolph. Don't forget, also tonight, you got the semifinal of the other semifinal here in the Section 6 Class D round, Portville at Maple Grove. And also tonight, you got the District 9 Class AAA Championship, Bradford High versus Clearfield. And then Saturday at 5 o'clock in the semifinal of the Section 5 Class C, you got Way County versus Wellsville. So many things going on in the high school football schedule as they're wrapping up their high school football for this season, and it's been some great football season for some of the great areas, local teams, and they're playing in the playoffs. So that's great stuff to wrap up the season for those guys. Also, on a quick note before we go, just saw this coming across the line too. Justin Blackmon, the Jacksonville Jaguar receiver, was now just suspended indefinitely for yet another explicit use of breaking the substance abuse policy in the NFL. I mean, seriously, what's wrong with this guy? What substance should you be abusing when you're making millions of dollars, living your dream, playing in the NFL? I don't get it. There isn't any substance in the entire world that you could tell me that I could take that would derail what I would be doing on the radio. This is my dream job. This is what I dream to do. I understand addiction and things, sometimes you're not thinking rationally, but you thought you had kicked it. You got suspended one time, and now this is for the rest of the season? I mean, it's baffling to me. It just befuddles the mind to see that Justin Blackmon is doing the things that he's doing. It just makes no sense. With that being said, I understand demons, I understand addiction, and I understand those things are hard to fight. But when you're living your dream and you're going out there every Sunday doing what you thought about doing as a kid, why would you give that up? I would seek out help if I was him, get treatment immediately for whatever problems he's going on, and fix it, period. So that's it. Wrapping up the show here on a fantastic Football Friday. I want to thank each and every one of you listeners, all your emails, all the calls, @_Joe the Mouth, Mouth Nation. You were really great on Twitter. The emails as well. Keep them coming. Cage@colonialme.com. Big shout out to my Southeast producer, Kevin Canessa, for keeping me updated on stats and all the other information I needed to pass along to you guys. I love each and every one of you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Peace out. See you later.